China and America have a long and enduring history, one that is thoroughly represented through the exchange of their respective food cultures.
As cultures come in contact with one another, there's an eventual equilibrium reached where both cultures will be represented in some shape, form, or fashion.
In the early 1800s, when the first Chinese immigrants arrived in the US, they fought a hard uphill battle in winning the recognition of their culture and cuisine.
The love for Chinese food in America is deeply entrenched in modern-day American society. Our Chinatowns are full of curious tourists, and Chinese American restaurants are popping up everywhere.
However, some of these restaurants are not owned by ethnically Chinese individuals, and this has led to questions of where authentic Chinese food may be found in the diverse Chinese American market that is modern-day capitalist America.
While this so-called transculturation might lead to the lack of authenticity, purity, and essence in the elements being appropriated, sometimes even an enterprise that seems inauthentic might profit due to the same inauthenticity.
Most apparent are fast food chains like Panda Express and Payway. American businesses profiting off of Chinese food culture has become a common occurrence nowadays.
So how do these establishments feel about this claim of cultural exploitation? We'll find out.
Okay, so the first question is, do you think Panda Express serves real authentic Chinese food?
Alright, this is not really authentic Chinese.
Okay,
That's why it's called it's a Chinese American. It's like Asian American
it's like a fusion.
fusion.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you think the people who come here, like, do you think they feel like, or the Panda Express feel like they appropriate like Asian culture?
Yes, yeah, at least you know the if it's not Chinese authentic, at least we are very close to that. People
Okay.
love it, and
Yeah.
that's the reason even we are opening one more Panda very near to Sherman.
Really?
It's coming on June 5th in Denison.
Oh, I guess there's like a lot of people who want it
Love
then.
it, love it. That's why it is.
Okay, well, okay. Thank you so much for your time.
There seems to be many perspectives as to what constitutes true and authentic Chinese food in America. But what does authenticity mean to you? Does it truly even matter? What does it mean to those individuals that have grown up in the US but have also been raised with a rich cultural Chinese heritage? We should take some time and hear from real Chinese Americans about how they feel their food and culture has been represented in modern-day America.
Panda Express to me is like white people's Chinese food.
可能中國餐差唔多，我諗係嘛？
我覺得唔係啦。
This is so gross.
Wow, this smells like a candle.
中國人比較親見啊。
哦，謝謝謝謝謝謝。
有沒有？
皮也不脆，然后里面的馅也包得不好。
It's like soggy on the inside.
不是，就是味道差不多的东西吗？
比这个好吃。
If you actually know like real Chinese chow mein, you'd be like, this is like American China chow mein.
中國炒麵嚟講咧，
Ooh, it smells like stinky feet.
还可以。
味道好。
It actually tastes pretty, like, authentic.
I didn't say that bad.
Wow, you never had authentic Chinese
Yeah,
food
this
before.
is like judged.
I'd rather eat this than egg roll, put it that way.
Low standards.
That's how I end up with her.
He puts down Panda Express, but he eats McDonald's all the time. Like, I don't understand. This is my dad's favorite. Like, if he were here, he would hate this.
Whoa,
Oh, it smells good. Actually, it smells good.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it smells weird.
I like this. Oh, it's really salty.
佢好味，
佢個味呢度
味都好。
像不像真正的宫保鸡？
不像。
Okay, how long have you or your family been in the US?
I have been in the US for 6 years now.
I came here when I was 3, and I'm turning 23 this year, so 20 years.
So my parents immigrated here in like 1998 or 1999. So around 20 years.
What province of China are you from?
So I'm from Xinjiang province.
I'm from Sichuan.
I'm from Wuhan, Hubei.
So, what expectations did you have for Chinese restaurants in the US?
I think for me, growing up, I eat a lot of spicy food, so at least the spice should be right, and also not too much soy sauce, because I feel like a lot of times the American Chinese food put a lot of soy sauce into it, and also just like the good balance, because I feel like a lot of Chinese meals, it's the good balance is that they're good amount of vegetables and good amount of proteins. So I like that balance, and also just like the special spice that they use. Like make sure you have the garlic, you have the ginger, you have the onions that make everything taste good. So that's what I expect from the Chinese restaurant.
Well, I don't really have expectations really, because it really depends on the part of the United States I'm in. So like if I'm in like Plano, an area where there's a lot of Chinese people there, my expectations are higher. But if I'm like in Sherman, like my expectations aren't that high.
I mean, I don't expect the food to be as good as my mom's cooking. So for me, like if I'm going to an Asian restaurant, I don't go for the taste. I usually go to like spend time with friends, because in my opinion, my mom's cooking is a lot better and much more authentic. Asian or Chinese restaurants in particular usually have a lot of MSG in it, and so it's not something that I don't like, but it is something I expect. Like a lot of times the food will be a little bit saltier, have a little bit more MSG, be a little bit oilier, and whereas the food I have at home is a lot less oily.
Are there American foods in Chinese grocery stores?
Yes, there are. So the grocery stores I go to, it's called Jialefu, and there's a section for imported goods.
I think there's a special section where it's like snacks and products only from abroad. So it's not only from the US, but like also other places. So like popular chocolates in the US will be appearing in the Chinese supermarket, and also cheese and like stuff will also be there. Okay. Yeah, and bacon too. So
of course. So there are always if you ever go to like the snack section, there's always like American snacks. And if you like go to 99 Ranch or something, they always have like a mix of American foods. Like they have like American yogurt and milk and snacks, but usually they're like kind of overpriced. So normally I don't really get American food from Chinese stores.
What are your thoughts on how Chinese food is represented in the US?
I mean, I think it's represented. A lot of people think Chinese food is like, Panda Express or Pei Wei. So, which I don't blame them, because Chinese food kind of evolved when Chinese people moved to America. They kind of like evolved the dishes into a more Americanized form in order to like, kind of obtain business and like earn money, because that's what Anglo-Americans like, they're gonna make it to their taste.
I think the Chinese food are portrayed more as like a fast food kind of thing because of Panda Express and other places. I feel like a lot of times when I go out with my friends, they're like, okay, let's go to a Chinese restaurant. It depends on like what kind of scale, because they're gonna be the high scale like Chinese restaurant where it's like very fancy, like you only get a little bit bitty food portion and it tastes really good. Or compared with the other one, which is like the cheap version, the fast version, where you can just get a lo mein or like fried rice really fast. So it really depends. I feel like a portrayed to a point where like I think majority Chinese food are portrayed as like a fast, cheap, comfort food for the US people. Yeah.
Do you feel like Chinese food might have been appropriated by US culture?
Yes, but I don't necessarily think that it's negative. I think when it comes to food, like in my opinion, food is such a like versatile thing, and it's like really hard to just like box food into a category and be like, this is like the only way you can eat Chinese food. Like obviously there are restaurants that kind of do appropriate Chinese food, like Panda Express and Pei Wei and like those sort of like more fast foody types of Chinese food. And although I do think it's kind of appropriating, because it's like Chinese food would never be eaten that way in China. Like you would never have like orange chicken that tastes like that. There isn't even orange chicken in China. So although I do think it's like extremely Americanized, I don't think it's negative, just because like you don't go to a Panda Express and you like actually think, or I hope people don't think that's like all there is to Chinese food, you know. So I don't think it's negative. I just think that people should go into it knowing that this is not the only type of Chinese food there is.
Yes, it has, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, Chinese food here, you have to let it be accepted by the Americans' taste buds, right? So there's a lot of Asian fusion places. So I get that, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because I like the effort of how Americans are trying to try Asian food and how Asian food is being more assimilated into the culture.
I think kind of to an extent, like a lot of people, they think Chinese food is like fried rice or chow mein and orange chicken and kung pao chicken, which orange chicken isn't really a Chinese dish, fun fact. But I think it's more like, it's like how like Mexican food is appropriate in America. It's like, you know, there's like Taco Bell and all of that. I feel like Chinese food is appropriate to an extent. And if there are reasons why it's appropriated, like, you know, like they had to like change up the taste to, I guess, feed into the likings of everyone here in America.
Any closing remarks about Chinese food or your experience with it here?
I mean, I just think that it's good to explore and like try new things, and you know, obviously nothing in the US will be that authentic. And so if you really want to try Chinese food, you should go to China and like see what it's like, because it's very, very good.
It seems to us that authenticity is a very subjective experience at the individual level, but at the group level, the terms tends to be influenced by the various socio-cultural factors surrounding the subject of interest. But what does authenticity mean to you? Does it even matter? Is there a need for it? I encourage everyone to go out and discover for yourself what Chinese food means to you.